Today we're going to talk about tuning the violin. There are two ways on the instrument to tune. We have the pegs at the top by the scroll. These you use when the instrument is pretty drastically out of tune, where the peg has slipped or the string is slack and you really need to adjust it a lot. The other thing that we have on the instrument are fine tuners. On some instruments you see only one of these on the E string, and on other instruments they're on each string. The thing that you have to watch out for is the fine tuner being screwed all the way in. Sometimes that can cause a scratching underneath if the mechanism underneath touches the top of the instrument, so you need to loosen it up, which would be turning it counterclockwise to loosen it, and that also makes the string go under pitch. If you turn it clockwise, it raises the pitch. So, first, when you're tuning with the pegs, there's another thing to pay attention to, and that is pegs are held in by friction. So sometimes they slip. And if they do, you need to be careful to push the peg in while you tune. So that you put your hand on the other side of the scroll to support the scroll so it doesn't put too much pressure on it as you push the peg in and turn it up. And that way the peg is seated in there firmly. You will need a tuner to tune, so whichever method you use, whether it's a digital tuner, a tuning fork, or a pitch pipe, then you use that for the A and you tune the rest of the strings from the A. Or if you have a digital tuner, you can use that for all the strings. And I will cover each one of those in separate videos, but for now I'm just going to use one of those to tune the A and tune the rest of the instrument so you can see how that's done. And this A actually is in tune now that I tuned it with the peg here. And I use the A to tune the rest of the strings. So you use the A like a reference pitch, and the rest of the strings are tuned in fifths. Here's where I use the fine tuner on the E. By turning that clockwise, I raised the pitch so the E was in tune with the A. If you have a violin that does not have 4 fine tuners, then you have to use the pegs for the G and the D as well as the A. There is almost always a fine tuner on the E, however, and normally that's what you use when you tune the E. Very rarely do you need to use the peg for the E. And in the next videos, then we will talk about each one of the tuners.